Most children look forward to dinner time, but for a 13-year-old boy, a slice of cheese almost cost him his life. This is the raw survival story of how a child used a genius 911 trick to escape his own mother's madness, and the shocking reason they haven't spoken a single word since.
Story time about how my biological mother tried to murder me over a piece of cheese. If y'all know my wife, y'all always, y'all know that we don't have a village. And a lot of people ask, well, where's Tony's family? Where's Tony's mom? And it's such a complex answer to that. From the ages 3 to 5, I lived in foster care with people that I really didn't even know. I'm originally from Ohio. I was somewhere in Pennsylvania or somewhere along those lines, living with complete strangers. That was due to some sort of domestic violence situation between her and my dad. As a kid, I didn't really understand much, but one way or another, she ended up regaining custody of me. I was about 5 or 6 years old, and this was basically the chapter 1 of me having my mother in my life. So at the age of 6, my younger sibling was born. Things kind of seemed normal. I don't know if it was because I was a kid. So, children are innocent until you make them not innocent anymore. But apparently my mother was always crazy, so to say. Growing up, I always thought that she was just overprotective of me because the way that she would act, the way that she would think and vocalize about things. But it wasn't until I was about 12, 13 years old that I was able to tell that there was something very wrong with her, when it seemed that she started to take her life frustrations out on me. And then at some point, it got to the point where I realized that she might actually be crazy. What started off as a boy having grace towards his mother and thinking that I was the problem turned into me soon to realize that my mother hated me. I don't know if it's because of who my father was. I don't know if it's because of something that was in her mind. But all I knew at the time was that I was being treated was not fair, and I didn't deserve it. I didn't understand why it was happening. There was a point, and I would say in my preteens, probably between 10 and 12, somewhere around there, that on a daily, waking up in the morning, I would actually tiptoe around her and try to make myself be perfect to avoid starting another one of these episodes that she would have. These episodes would mainly be targeted towards me. Like I said, I had a younger sibling who I was 5 years older than, so she was very young, so she didn't really understand a lot was going on. It was like I would wake up for school in the morning to get an ass whooping already. I didn't even do anything. I'll wake up in the morning, my mom driving me to the bus stop and telling me not to be a pervert, or seeing someone standing across the street saying that they're just like the rest of them, like completely asinine statements that me as a 10 to 12-year-old, like, I'm trying to paint this timeline as best as I can for you, because now I'm 25 years old, so I try to, or for the longest, I had to work through it to not think about all these traumatic points in my life in order to move on from them. But I'm going to paint the timeline as best as I can for you. So I was somewhere around the age of 10 to 12 years old. She would always, just everywhere we go, every person we seen, any car that we seen, she would just make these crazy statements that I'm just like, what are you talking about? I wouldn't even say that, because stuff like that would even spiral her to just be targeted, like to just start something with me, right? So there's so much to this story. It took me a while to even be able to do this. Like, if y'all know my wife, y'all always, y'all know that we don't have a village. And a lot of people ask, well, where's Tony's family? Where's Tony's mom? And it's such a complex answer to that, to where in this story time, I know it's going to take me multiple parts to get through, but in this story time, I'm going to try and get through it as best as I can and try to paint the picture for y'all And I know this is a big world. Maybe someone out there is dealing with something similar to where maybe my insight on my situation can maybe help you through yours. But there will be instances where, or it wasn't instances, this will be every day. I would wake up in the morning, I would be getting popped in my mouth on the way, leaving out the door to school. Like, for instance, she would make a statement towards me like, "You're just evil like the rest of them." Fresh off the wake up at 12 years old, about to go to school, bro. And I have nothing that I can even say about that. Like, my mind can't even like articulate words to even try and hold a conversation with you. Like, I'm just wondering, what are you talking about? Right? So then that type of mental load of a someone has something really psychologically wrong with them. They're leading their child off to then go to school, right? Handle the load of school, but starting their day with that as their inner voice. You know what I'm saying? With that as their inner voice. Like, there was times I would walk to the bus stop and just not quite go all the way to the bus stop. And I would just stand there and watch the bus go by and just wait there for hours and then go back home and tell her that the bus never came. You know what I'm saying? Just because the mind space that she would put me in would have me to where I really didn't want to talk to other people because there was so much wrong at home. But it's kind of a touchy subject, especially as a child, especially while you're actively going through it, to where you really do need help, but you don't know how to ask for it, how to go about it, or if that's even an actual thing, because this was all I knew at the time. So we do that for a while. You know, that became a daily loop of things like that. As a kid, you know, of course, that's going to make you depressed. I was the type to go to school. I would joke, I would laugh, you know, have fun with my friends, or so it would seem. But really, in all reality, I was actually the quiet one. The things that she would send me off to school with would sit and soak with me all day, to the point where I really resented when that bell would ring and it meant it was time for everybody to go home. I would absolutely dread that moment. Like, I'm talking about, instead of taking a bus, I would walk home from school just so it'd take me longer to get there. I'm from a small town, so it's possible, you know, to walk from school to the house, but it would take me maybe an hour plus to get there, just because I'm dreading the fact that as soon as I walk through this door, I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know what the right approach is to even avoid whatever BS is going to come with me walking through this door. But I just know it's going to be something. Most days at this point, I was about 13, 14, right? We were very poor, like, to the point there would be no food in the fridge and we would starve. And that would probably, you know, as an adult looking at it, that would probably mess with my mom's mind. But then she would try and project it onto children and manipulate us and try to make it seem like it was our fault. And let me just tell y'all, right? God is so real, and he was with me through this entire process. Because I'm not going to tell y'all what I was doing, but there was a point in my life in my earlier years where I actually grew an online community. It was when gaming was real big, like the Call of Duty era, if you know, you know. And I was actually able to create online services for that community that was bringing in like pretty good money for someone who's 12, 13 years old, bringing in, you know, $200, $250 a day. This is, mind you, this is probably back in like 2013 or so, 2014. Bringing in that kind of money. And I would buy me and my sister, I would buy us Domino's, wings, and order us food like every day, because there was nothing to eat. Like, it would be to the point, like, my mom would like mix flour and water and bake that shit into like some crackers, bro, and try to have us eat it with some watered down ranch, like some foul shit. Like, I promise you, like, right hand to God, I'm not making this shit up, right? Some inhumane living conditions, like. And for the longest, I thought it was a strength, because I'm like, I'm one of them kids, like, I'm not bashing her in no way. I'm just, at the time, I'm thinking like, okay, at least we got a roof over my head. Like, I'm very content. I never had nothing, so how can I be ungrateful for what we do have? Like, I have nothing. I don't have this high horse or this, you know, other side of the family where I go spend a night and have Wonderland and come back to this. Like, that's all we knew. We was there all day, every day. She isolated us from our entire family. When I say us, I'm talking about me and my younger sister, right? So it got to a point where I don't know how I stumbled across the avenue that I was taking to make this money online, but it was working. I built a name for myself and everything. I was consistently bringing in money, and that kept us afloat. As far as me and my sister, like I was feeding us. And instead of, being supportive of it or actually trying to see what I was doing, bro, that spiraled into even more problems between me and my mother, because she figured I was doing something illegal, which I'm not going to tell y'all if it was or not, but I'm still here today to tell the story, so it kind of makes that part irrelevant.
This rotten heifer, to use the little piece of useful brain she may have to make these children think it's their fault that she doesn't have enough food for them to eat. And not you being ungrateful when this young man's survival instinct kicks in and he decides to grab the bull by the horns and to do your job for you by keeping he and his little sister fed. Mm-mm-mm. Shaking my head.
Any encounters that I had at this point in my life, she would just ring and ring and ring through my mind, like this crazy woman and things that she's saying to me. Moral of the story is, it was providing something that she wasn't. It was helping us get by. It was helping us to live. It's helping us to not eat the forbidden snacks that I just told you that she was making for us. Like, and I'm telling this like a full vulnerability. Like, it's been so long ago. I have my own kids, my own life today, so it doesn't necessarily bother me because I've grown through it. I was doing all that and making a living and, getting us by. And it seemed like that was making her angrier because I spent a lot of time on video game. I'm not gonna lie, like that was a escape from reality for me. Like the video game was my life. I'm not gonna lie. This period of time, like video games saved my life. Cause mind you, I had friends at school, people that, when you're from a small town, the same people from kindergarten, you know them all the way up until graduation. I got people that I know, but no one knew what I was truly going through. And the type of person that my mother was, because she knew how to code switch real good. Like, even her code switch, like, people be able to tell that she throw it off, but if I don't say nothing, they don't really have a real way of actually knowing. But the video games, when you put the headset on and you meet people in there, especially during this time when it was really in its prime, that was literally a gateway for me, and I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have that in my life at the time. But it would get to the point where she would, like, be mad that I'm on it. She would bust open my door and say, "You're the devil. You're evil." Bro, she would come in my room sprinkling salt all over the floor. Like, I don't know what kind of crazy cuckoo shit that she was into, bro. But that's not something that that's not a regular childhood experience. Like, bro, she started putting, like, dream catchers in my window. Mind you, bro, my mom is white. My dad is black. We're not cultured in no way or fashion. I'm sure somebody will be able to drop something down below in the comments and try to make sense of it. But it's one of them things where if you wasn't there, then you truly wouldn't know. But she would start doing things like this that would throw me off. And in all reality, I'm actually scared because, mind you, I'm 12, 13 years old. So I'm actually scared and I don't know what to do about this. But this is my living situation. This is my mom, bro. Like, so I really thrived off of just asking her to get out of my room. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't wait until she leave my room so I can go back to my headset, hit that unmute button, and go back to what I was doing before. At the time, for me, that was real life. That was my real reality right there on that game and them headsets, like, you know what I'm saying, talking to my little people online. That was my reality. In real life, my real life situation, I was praying to God every day to help me understand why, to help me figure out a way out of it, right? To help me find a way out of my situation that I was in, because I could never make sense of why my mother hated me so badly. Mind you, growing up, I was one of them kids, I did everything my mom asked, man. I looked out for me and my sister, you know what I'm saying? I stayed out of trouble. I mean, maybe the overprotectiveness did help me in a sense, because I was so afraid of everything, of what would happen if I did anything, to where it kept me away from doing anything, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was extremely timid and introverted. And that wasn't even who I was, because, you know what I'm saying, when I get on the game, I'm not like that. But it's like, any encounters that I had at this point in my life, she would just ring and ring and ring through my mind, like this crazy woman and things that she's saying to me, you know what I'm saying? It would just always be with me. Like, I'm at school, I'm at events, it would always be with me, to where I can't even properly interact with my peers. Mind you, just to put this in perspective a little bit, CPS was involved on and off most of my life. And I'm pretty sure it's because like people would like call him on us all the time from different scenarios. Like it was never the same person. It would always be different people for different reasons. Different things would happen, right? There's this one point in time. This is actually when I met my wife. Mind you, she didn't know none of this was going on at this time. It was 8th grade. Hopefully you guys are following along the timeline for me. However old I was, 8th grade year. My wife, she went to school in a town over from me. It was another small town, but they were all connected. She went to school one town over, and I switched to that school for this year because of my mom actually had a good job. This is the only good job I remember her ever having. And it was actually great for me because she was just gone all the time. So, you know what I'm saying? It was a little lonely because, mind you, back then, I didn't have, like, a phone or we didn't have internet or nothing. So, like, I'm watching DVDs, you know, the same movies over and over and over again. Me and my sister building forts, you know what I'm saying? Like, crazy, right? So, it came a point in time, I went to school there for about a year, or almost a full year. I almost finished the full school year. That's where I met my wife, Kiara. And at the time, it's funny because she was trying to get with me. She wanted to be my girlfriend. At this time, I never had a girlfriend or nothing. And I like I really was interested in her, but I shooed her away because I was embarrassed. I didn't never want to bring a girl around my mom. Like, I never told her that, but it's just a deep down feeling. Like, I just never had the courage to welcome a girl. I didn't even welcome my best friends around her. Like, I would go to friends, like I had a select few friends throughout my childhood where I would go to their houses as much as I physically, like, possibly could. And they didn't even know my mom. You know what I'm saying? They moms want to meet my mom. Like, no, she's outside. She just dropped me off, but I don't think y'all should talk. Like, I'm trying to avoid that at all costs. So when it came to Kiara, I'm like, I just kind of ghosted her because I didn't even have the courage to even speak on why I don't want you to meet my mom. I just wanted to abandon the whole situation, all in all, to avoid even going that deep into it, right? So my mom had lost her job that she had that was in this town. So we ended up moving back to my hometown. Mind you, this is all in Ohio. We ended up moving back to my hometown, and she got this humongous house that she could not afford. Like, it wasn't furnished or anything. So we had a huge house, 5 bedrooms, that we couldn't afford. There was no furniture in it, like absolutely no furniture. Like, I can't make this shit up. We had no beds, no couches. I had my little box TV and my clothes. You know, my school wore uniforms. We had orange and brown. I was alternating 2 polos with 1 pair of khaki pants every single day throughout the year. Didn't even have a washer and dryer. My clothes got washed when they got washed. At this point in time, my mom didn't even have a car. We was walking collectively as a family, walking. Like, she would take me and my sister walking all around the city, bro. And I'm just telling you these things, like, because this story is so all over the place that there's not even a starting point. Like, it's really crazy, bro. It's really crazy. There was a point in time I remember that CPS got involved with us, and they would always ask, like, you know, is everything okay? Which I'm not sure why this is their approach when they are dealing with the family that they, you know, got called on or whatever. But they would always ask us, is everything okay? Is this okay? Is there anything you want to tell us? And my mom used to, like, coach us, like, y'all better not say nothing. If you say something, they're going to split you up. You'll never see me again. You don't want that, do you? Basically manipulating us, you know what I'm saying? Manipulating us, like, you better not tell on me or something bad going to happen, which may have been true, but it's really a lose-lose situation because that was true and I never wanted that to happen, because even though my mom was this person, I still loved her because that's all I had. I never wanted to be split with my sister. I'm the big brother, but I never wanted to risk that. Those are the things she's telling me, so I'm believing them. So I never wanted to risk that. So I always tell them, like, you know what I'm saying? They can see the sadness in my face. They can see you coming in my house. There's no, bro, we didn't even have a stove, bro. We didn't even have a stove. No cap. In this house, we didn't even have a stove. Dog. We didn't have a fucking, bro, we didn't even have a stove. I would take one of them hot plates and put a pot on it and put my water, my rice, whatever I need to cook. But the hot plate was the stove. There was a section in the kitchen where a stove was supposed to go. Gas hookups and all. There was no stove, right? They come to my house. There's no stove. There's no food in the fridge. It's 5 bedrooms with no furniture. We had to lay out the pallet, pack it up, and go to the next area. Like, I got my pallet in the dining room when I take a nap, because she's forcing me to be right there, right? So I don't touch my game and all that. Mind you, at the time, you know, we didn't have internet. This is before I got crafty and started to figure out about you know, I would hustle at school and ended up getting me a phone, getting it on, and doing a hotspot or whatever. But at this time, we just pack up the pallet and go. It really broke me. Like, if I think the all moments of my life, that was the biggest moment in my life that I truly felt defeated. Back to what I was saying about the CPS. They would see that there's no furniture in this whole house. You know, there's marks all over us from getting beat. And I'm still telling them everything is okay. But deep down inside, I was hoping, all along I was hoping that even though I'm telling you everything's all right, that you do something anyways, because it just felt against my nature to say anything else than that, because of all the things that she's saying will happen if I do. But I always hope that maybe somehow, some way, something would happen to make the situation better. You know what I'm saying? But that never happened. Then we're gonna fast forward a little bit. From this same huge house, I don't remember where my mom was working at this time because it was such a long time ago. But she had lost her job, fell behind financially, or whatever case may be. We couldn't afford a house anyways. And we ended up getting evicted, right? Or we was going to get evicted. CPS had offered to give her financial assistance to help her in some way to prevent that from happening, or help us find a new place to go or whatever. She would always like shoo them away, like she didn't want them in our business. Even though at this time, like me looking back, we genuinely needed it. Like we really, really needed it at this time, right? And I remember her telling them that, and I'm a kid, so I did stay in the kid's place. Like I never had that relationship with my mom where I would talk to her about real things or nothing like that. So I would just think it inside my head. And I was wondering, like, why didn't she tell them that we need help? You know what I'm saying? Why didn't she tell them? Why didn't she just tell them? Because I know she didn't talk to me about her financial things or nothing, but I can just, at this point, I've been living in poverty. I was grown a long time before I was supposed to be. I knew that things wasn't right. And she didn't tell them. And some time went on. And I remember we actually had got evicted from this house. I think this was my 9th grade year too, yep. We actually got evicted from this house. And she had, and whatever little bit of money she had left, she worked out something with somebody to get some rinky-dink van that was all fucked up. You know, it was all messed up. And we put all our little bit of belongings, it was like a couple bags of clothes, whatever. You know, like I said, we didn't have no furniture or nothing, so it's like getting evicted. It's like, okay, pack your bag, let's leave. And that's all our stuff right there. Leave everything else in the house, whoop-de-doo. That's the kind of deal it was. So we ended up, I was 13, I believe. Maybe some of these ages, I might be going too fast, but just bear with me. At this age, I believe I was 13 or so, right? Because 9th grade, somewhere in between 9th grade, I believe I was 13 years old. We had went to the homeless shelter, and that was so devastating to me because there was a point in time a little earlier in life where we actually lived a couple houses down from the homeless shelter. Where I lived, it was actually called the Harmony House. And I never knew what the place was when I did live near it, but I knew that there was this friend that I had, and he would get off the bus stop, because they had a bus stop in front of that place. They would get off the bus stop, and I remember how everyone on the bus would make fun of bro for that. Like, they would like be clowning him, and I could tell that it really made him salty and was hurting his feelings and whatnot. I never was one of them ones doing that. Like, even if I didn't know what the place was, that was my friend, but I never asked him, like, what is that place? You know what I'm saying? Why they making fun of it or none of that. But I kind of put 2 and 2 together, and that kind of built the first stigma. I think that's the word I'm looking for. The first, you know, thoughts that I had towards a place like that in my mind. And later on in life, for me to end up going and living in the same place now at about 13 years old, I'm old enough to understand and be able to, it was like a extreme level of embarrassment that I got, because first of all, it's all out of my control. None of it was my fault, you know? So it really broke me. Like, if I think the all moments of my life, that was the biggest moment in my life that I truly felt defeated. Like, words can't even explain how defeated I felt in that moment, especially like the first day that we got there, right? I'm gonna explain. Like, I'm assuming the average person hasn't been to a place like that, especially if you're in your 20s or you're younger. Some of my older folks listening to this, you maybe have, you know, experienced something like that. But this one in particular, the town I'm from is super, like, super low end town. It's nothing fancy by any means. It's a hole in the wall town, right? My experience walking in there, you go in through the door, it's this little shack. It's a building. Like, it could literally be the place where you go pay your water bill or something. Probably be much smarter than that, depending on where you live, right? You walk past the office, they show you your little dorm room shack. It's super, super, super small. They show you your little dorm room shack. You walk back there, you go in the room. There's a bunk bed on this side. There's a bunk bed on this side. And there's a little box TV, right? And I guess apparently, usually one person will stay over here. Maybe even two people. I don't know how it works. And then someone else will share over here. But maybe since my mom had kids, we had it to ourselves. But it's so small, like, it's so small I can jump from one bed onto the other, right? My mom had the bottom bunk with my sister, and I was on the top bunk, sleeping up there. And mind you, this place was, like, inhumane. Like, my bed was so close to the ceiling. Like, if I didn't remember where I'm laying my head at, and I wake up in the morning, I will headbutt the ceiling. Like, that's how close it is. There's, like, all types of boogers and all type of nastiness all over the ceiling. Like, I'm looking it right in the face, right? I'm thinking, like, what if somebody got AIDS? Like, it's all type of drug addicts and weirdos in here. Like, all types of stuff going on, right? And this is things in my mind, because I always been smart, so I understood how things worked. But this is how I was processing it as it happened, right? And then my mom told me that we needed to go to the little cafeteria area they had or whatever. And they was, like, giving us a tour the whole time. Like, I don't care about none of that. Like, this is really hurting me so bad that we were even here in the first place. Like, I don't even know how to feel about this. I can't do nothing. Like, I'm holding in with all my might, my tears at that moment. Like, I'm holding it back so heavily. And then I seen our caseworker from Children's Services come, right? The very person who used to always ask me, is everything okay? Who offered to help, all that. I seen her there. And we all sit at this little table they had in the cafeteria. And she just talking to my mom, and I can't really decipher what they're saying, because I'm trying to hold my tears back so heavily right now, or in that moment, to where I'm not really even tuned in with them. I'm so embarrassed. Like, I can't believe this. I don't even know how they're looking at me, even though they're there to save the children. I'm just so embarrassed at this time, where I don't even have words. I wasn't even talking to my sister. Like, she's crying too. She didn't understand it to the scale that I did, but she knew that everything was bad right now. So the lady just went to talk to me, and I had no words for it, bro. I just remember I was so defeated and started breaking down, crying hysterically, and could not stop, because I just could not believe the very place I would ride the bus home and watch my homie get laughed at for going there. And I had no idea what this place was. Now I'm forced to live here in these disgusting living conditions. Something he never even talked to me about, so I didn't know what to expect. I didn't even know what the place was until I'm there, right? And this is all out of my control, so that hurt me so bad. And the even crazier part is, right, throughout this time, throughout my childhood, like, since, like, even earlier on, probably since, like, a little bit, when I really started first living with my mom, I had a friend, and I ain't gonna drop his name, but if you my childhood homie, like, since a real young kid watching this, bro, you know who I'm talking about, you, bro. And he don't even know this to this day, like, to the day. Like, I talk to him every now and then. I still never told him this to this day, bro. I know him, bro, since I was like 7 years old. I just turned 25. He don't know this to this day, that I was living in a homeless shelter. This is my friend, where I would go stay the night at his house and keep asking my mom every day, can I stay again? Can I stay again? Can I stay again? Because his people, I never told them what was going on, but they knew my mom was crazy. So they would let me stay. I didn't cause no problems. We always had a good time. We just played a game, you know what I'm saying? Kick it. And this was one of them friends where I spent more time at his house than I did at my house, as long as I could convince my mom to keep letting me, you know what I'm saying? So at the point when we was living in a homeless shelter, he had no idea that I was staying there. Guess what? I would walk from the homeless shelter to his house. I would walk over there and stay the night at his house. I think it was like around spring break. I stayed there the whole spring break. And they didn't even know that I am homeless. Me, my sister, my mom are living in the town's homeless shelter right now. They didn't have a clue.
Even through all the pain he experienced, I still hear empathy. Sounds like he not only felt sad about his family's homelessness, but could also empathize with his buddy who used to get off the bus at the same shelter years prior.
I would walk over there and stay the night at his house. I think it was like around spring break. I stayed there the whole spring break. And they didn't even know that I am homeless. They didn't have a clue. I'll go over there, laugh, and hide the pain and act like the same old Tony to hide the fact that that was my reality. They did not know none of that. Knowing that they would have for sure helped me, but I just couldn't even find it in myself. I didn't even know how to speak up about something like that. So that was a whole era. That was like really soaking in a big trauma chapter in my childhood life. Right before you transition into becoming a teenager, right? We stayed there a good like 6 months. We was in a homeless shelter about 6 months. And she ended up finding out a way. I believe it might have been tax time. Yeah, she might have got her taxes because she had 2 kids. So that tax time came around and that gave us the boost that we needed to go and get a place. So we ended up getting a place and we was all jolly for maybe like the first 2 weeks or so. And that's when it got bad. That's when she started, really making the crazy remarks. Like every dude we seen on the side of the street was some type of pedophile and perverts. She would always blatantly, like, just blurt out the most, I don't even know the word for it. Like, these statements was crazy. Like, she always tell me, like, don't be thinking with your, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm like, bro, whole time I'm a virgin, bro. I ain't never had a girlfriend. I ain't never pursued girls. I've never even hinted at anything. Like, bro, all I do is play the game. You know what I'm saying? Why would you even say that to me? So things like that are very mentally abusing to someone that's at the age that I'm telling you I was at. Because mind you, at this time, I was probably 13 going on 14. And saying things like that to somebody at this age is very abusing mentally. And it took a extreme toll on me. Like, I was going into I think I was still 9th grade. I might have still been 9th grade. I want to say I was still 9th grade. At this point is when I'm getting older. Most, preteens, teenagers are starting to form their personality a little bit. Me, I'm the exact opposite. I would go to school. I would not talk to nobody. It would probably be like one person who would get a little bit of words out of me, and that would be considered my friend. But everyone else in the friend group or the lunch table, the homies, you know what I'm saying? I was real silent. Nobody ever really knew why. And I never spoke up on it because I'm from a messed up place where I wasn't around many people where I probably assumed that it was normal. Or not that it was normal. I don't even know, bro. It's so complex where I don't even know how to explain it. I don't know why I never said nothing to nobody. I felt like there was nothing that anybody could do for me. I was so miserable in my situation. I didn't see it get no better. And then from there, it only got worse. That's when she would start really antagonizing me bad. From the minute I would get home from school, she would come in my room throwing a little salt at me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm a kid. I don't know what to do about this. Like, I'm living with somebody who reminds me of a person off, I don't know if y'all ever seen one of them Lifetime movies, like a real psychopath, bro. The best bet I could ever do is beg you to get out my room and lock the door on you. Like, she would break my door down when I locked the door. Like, it would drive her insane. I'm just trying to keep you out. Because I'm getting beat. It was a point, I'm getting beat daily at this point. Like, every other day, something's turning physical. It's one of them situations like when somebody's in relationship abuse or something and the aggressor is so, like, they get triggered so easily to the point where I would just let her say whatever she needed to say. I wouldn't even look at her. I wouldn't even say nothing back to her because I'm not even trying to trigger you to take it to that next step up because I'm a kid. I'm getting tired of this. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to take preventative measures and stop it from going to that next point. And as it started to happen more frequently, when she would come and put her hands on me for no reason, right? And I promise you, for no reason. I'm not, one of them kids who's doing something bad or being disrespectful and like going and telling the world, with my ass for no reason. Like, no, that's not what this is at all. Like, I genuinely wasn't doing nothing. Like, when I tell you the type of person I was dealing with, I was doing everything at all costs to avoid contact with her. Like, you should never have frequent thoughts about, and this sounds crazy to say, but like at this time of my life, I'm, by being honest, like about your mother. Like, I didn't see no escape from this situation, from this person antagonizing me, this extreme mental and physical abuse as a kid. I didn't see no escape from it, right? And as she started doing it, like, coming and beating on me more frequently, I wouldn't never, like, something in my nature, I just never wanted to put my hands back on her, because like I said, I'm not spiraling these moments to become what they're becoming. I still love my mother. I don't understand why you're treating me this way. So after some time, the most I would try and do is I'm trying to like hold your hands. I'm trying to run. I'm trying to like get you off of me, but I'm never trying to fight you back, because I'm not trying to put my hands on my own mother. Like, I still love you. I don't understand why you're doing this to me. And then after a while, that's when she would start, like, she would really be taking it there. Like, she would call 911 on me to try and get them to scare me, to try and get the police to scare me. She would tell them, like this is how deep she would take it. She would call them and tell them her son just put his hands on her. And when they come, she would just ask them to, like, scare me. I'm insubordinate. I'm not listening. She would turn it into that story. Let me plug my phone up. It's about to die. She would call him and tell him that her son is been put his hands on her, and she needs somebody to come and talk to me or come and get me. And when they get there, she would tell him, I'm just insubordinate and I'm unruly and I'm not listening and all that, and just having to have a talk with me, basically to scare me, right? And she kept on doing it. She did it like 3 times, bro. To where but the whole time before they would come, like, it was just in my nature. The same with the CPS. I never told the police what was going on. I never really said nothing. Like, I just let them say what they need to say. I let her look like the good person. I don't know if they thought she was crazy. I don't know. But whole time they just didn't, like, most times they won't say or do nothing about the situation if the child doesn't speak out. So I don't truly know how they used to look at it, right? But I told myself, if something like this happens again, I'm going to be the one to call 911. And I'm going to get me and my sister out of this situation.
They needed to scare her behind.
This time is when I finally hit my breaking point. I was playing my game. I was in real life. Like I said, that was my real life. That was my escape. That's where all the homies was at. That's where the better version of life that I built for myself existed. My escape from this toxic, abusive reality that was my real life was on that game. I was on there just like any other day, right? And this time in particular, I believe was near the first of the month, because that's when she used our little benefits card. So she always had got like checks and stuff, because she was the type of person who knew how to pull them strings to start getting a piece of his VA checks and Social Security and all that, because he wasn't a present father. He got his own line of issues where he was never really involved in my life too much. But right now we're talking about her. And this time, I was on the game, right? My mic's unmuted and everything. She busts in my room, busts the door open, and says, like, you're not gonna believe what she said to me. You ain't nothing but the devil. Or something along them lines. And my heart dropped to my stomach, because the way she said it was like so evil. And I'm like, why? What are you talking about? Like, literally, what are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about. Why did you just say that to me? She's like, did you eat all the cheese that I just bought in the fridge? Did you eat all the cheese? And like, I'm flabbergasted, bro, that you're so serious. Like, the amount of rage that she had while she was saying this to me was absolutely unbelievable. And I'm telling her, like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. Maybe you misplaced it. Maybe you forgot it at the store. I don't know what the case was, bro. Either way, the way I'm looking at it, by this time I'm 13, probably close to 14 years old. I'm thinking, bro, it's cheese. Like, why are you pressing me over some cheese right now? It's a fridge full of food because you just went to the store at this time, right? And she's really pressing the issue, calling me all types of names, doing crazy things. Like, she started throwing the salt at me, bro. All type of, like, ended up spiraling me to where, like I said, this was happening so frequently that I already knew what time it was. But something about this time in specific, I knew it was different. Like, that she was actually, like, I felt like I was in danger, right? So what she did was she had smacked me with it. There was like one piece left, and she smacked me with it, like, so hard, bro. Mind you, my mom was like 275 pounds. At this time, I'm super malnourished. Like, I was probably like a good 110, 115. Smacked the crap out of me. Like, I'm trying not to cuss, y'all. Smacked the crap out of me with this piece of cheese, like my face red and everything, right? And I'm like, I already know where this is headed. So I had a phone that I bought with my own money that I was making, doing what I was doing, right? It was an iPhone 5S. I think that's the one that had like the sharper curves around it, and it was made out of metal. And I bought that, and she didn't know about it. So I would pay the cell phone service on the little Android that she got me. It was like a little Moto G. I will pay the service on that. And then I will also pay the service on the iPhone. She didn't know that I had the iPhone because I had the iPhone in case she took the Android from me. So on the iPhone, I dialed 911. Yep, sure did. This time I dialed 911. I said, I'm not going out like that this time, except I genuinely did feel that I was in danger. So mind you, she didn't know that I dialed 911. I already told him, like, help, my mom's trying to kill me. I need you to come. She's like, she won't stop putting her hands on me. Like, she keep coming in the room, smacking the dog out of me. Just abusive to the highest extent, right? I told the operator, I told him where we at and all that. And she kept coming in the room, still smacking me, walking out the room, yelling throughout the whole house. I come back in there even madder, trying to put her hands on me. She realized that I was on the phone. Who are you on the phone with? Who are you on the phone with? I told her that I'm on the phone with 911. I already called them. I already told them what happened. I told them they heard everything you said to me for the last 25, 30 minutes, right? She lost her mind when she found out that I was on the phone with 911. It took them maybe, like, that call was probably 46 minutes long, to be exact. It was probably 46 minutes from the minute I called and explained to the operator to the minute then police actually got to my place. About 15 minutes into that call is when she found out that I called 911. And she was throwing me all around the room, slamming me into the wall, on top of me on the bed, slamming me to the ground, like yanking with all her might. And I held on to that metal iPhone with my 110, 115 pound self. Held on to that with all my might with both hands. I'm talking about I had slices in my hands from how hard I was holding on to this phone, because she was like whacking me in the head, yanking it and everything, trying to take it from me to hang up. Held on to that phone for all my might for a good 30 minutes. Pulling my hair out, punching me in the face, everything. I really genuinely wish I could find the mugshot.
Well, if at this point there are still questions as to whether she is not mentally stable, hopefully we all understand she's definitely unstable. Your son tells you he's called the police on you. He has dialed 911. They are still on the phone. They heard you. They are hearing you. And you still choose to take your abuse to the next level and start throwing the child and beating him more abuse, worse abuse. Okay.
I really genuinely wish I could find the mugshot so that I could show y'all what I look like. Like, I'm not embarrassed of this at all. Like I said, the person I've grown into, and God got me through all that. The person I've grown into, the family that I started, this is truly a testimony And it's really just my story. Like, I've overcame all this. It's all the past, so it don't bother me to talk about it at all. And hopefully this situation can help somebody else. But I held on to that phone for 30 minutes of being, there's no better way to say it, but beaten. Like, she was trying everything in her power to take that phone from me, right? The apartments where we lived in, there was a door to get in before you get into the hallway and you can go up the steps. Like, each building had like door, go up the steps, door, go up the steps, door. We were on the top floor. The bottom door was locked to even get into the building, right? So the police might have been there for like 10 minutes before somebody else let them into the bottom door so that they could come up to our door. So I finally, like, I was just praying, because at this young age, I talked to God a whole lot. I had no one else to talk to. And that's honestly something with my intuition. My whole life, I feel like that's how God was talking to me, was through my intuition. Something told me that a change was going to happen. Something told me to keep holding on to that phone. Something told me to call 911 in the first place, right? They finally got to the door, and I felt so relieved. I didn't know what was about to happen next. I was honestly scared because, like I said, she always scared me into never saying anything to anyone. But this time, I said, forget all that. Whatever comes with this, I'm ready. Whatever happens for me and my sister has to be better than this situation that we're in right now. The police came in there. She got off of me. Mind you, up until this point, my sister, she was probably like 8 years old. She had the biggest kitchen knife that we could have in our kitchen. She wasn't gonna do nothing with it, but she just wanted, like, our mom to get off me. She wanted her to stop. She was like crying hysterically, telling her like, get off my brother, get off of him with the knife held up. She wasn't gonna do nothing with her. She's a kid, but she ain't know what else to do. She can't solve it. You know what I'm saying? She can't stop what was happening. She was used to it, but she could tell this time it was different. Like, she was trying to kill me. She was trying to kill me. She got off me. She went and let the police in. And she's so crazy that she thought she could even manipulate and maneuver and talk her way out of this situation. The police came in that room and they seen me. I didn't even see myself. They had a reporter come in. They took all kinds of pictures and photos of me. They arrested my mom on site. She was arrested for God knows how long, right? We had no family we're in contact with, none at all. They tried to have us remember if there's anybody at all that we could call to come and get us, to talk to, that might be able to take us. Because, you know, if that fails, they send you to the system. So we're just trying to think of everyone. I'm just telling them everyone's name on my dad's side of the family that I can even recall. Because, mind you, it's been like 7 years since we'd seen or talked to anyone. Mind you, we live in a town where you can drive 20 minutes and go through the entire town, maybe even 15. And we haven't came across them in years because she used to shelter us so heavily. So I'm just using my memory as best as I can, telling her my dad's name, all my aunts, my grandma, like, and they're looking up some sort of directory trying to find contact points for these people, right? And they finally got a hold of somebody. We ended up getting picked up by a family member on that side. And that was my escape from that house of being under my mom's care. And I wasn't even 14 years old yet. I was 13 years old. And that was how I escaped from my schizophrenic mother who tried to kill me over a piece of cheese. And from that moment, even then, I was scared, but I felt such a strong sense of relief that whatever is about to happen next in our lives, I don't know, because I don't know anything other than this abusive situation that I've been in majority of my life. But I know that it's going to be better than whatever I've been dealing with. So we got as much of our things as we could grab and left from that small apartment we were staying in. Mind you, it was small. It was a 2-bedroom. I had a room, and then my mom and my little sister would share a room next to me. And to this day, that was 10 plus years ago, and I remember the exact layout of this room. I can replay that moment vividly in my head. That's how I was able to even tell y'all about it right now. I remember it just like it was yesterday. And from the moment that we left there, I didn't miss it, not once. You know, after some time went by, we ended up living with my grandma because my dad, he wasn't stable to take care of us. Like, he had too much going on where nobody in their right mind would have let us stay with him under his care, right? And when we was living with my grandma, me and my sister was all each other had. And after some time, I would kind of be curious. Like, once I heard my mom did get out of jail and I didn't hear from her or nothing, I would be, you know, curious as anyone else would. And, like, you know, maybe one day I'll talk to her again as time goes by. She ended up calling my grandma and she asked to talk to my sister, but my sister didn't want to talk to her. So I was like, you know, I'll talk to her. I told her I'll talk to her because I'm older. So I wouldn't, you know, that's still my mom. Like I said, at the end of all this, I did that out of fear, not because I'm out to get my mother, but out of fear. So I was still willing to talk to my mom. And you know what she told my grandma? You know what she told her? She told her that she didn't want to talk to me. Mind you, this is 3-4 months after everything went down. She told her that she didn't want to talk to me. You know how defeated that made me feel in that moment, to know that my own mother washed her hands with me as a child that didn't do no wrong. And that left me from the age of 14 up until, I want to say, I didn't really like overcome it within myself. And I'm not going to say I ever stopped hurting about it, because that's the type of hurt that will probably follow me through a lifetime. But I didn't actually start living my life bothered by that until about 22. So I would say from like 13 to 22, it would like haunt me, the fact that there's a mystery like that in my life, a gap that's unfilled that I don't understand. You know what I'm saying? That I don't understand. And just, it's a lot of questions unanswered in my life with that big of a gap, me being so young and splitting ways with my mom. Like, I never had a real conversation with her ever. From 13 to about 22, I was real hurt by that situation, especially in my high school years. It led me not to know how to feel about a lot of things. It kind of damaged my character a whole lot. And up until a certain point, I was frequently hurt just by thinking about it. So I would force myself to not think about it, to try and actually forget about it. I hope me telling my story, this is only about 20% of my story. 10-15%. There's so much more. So much more. Because that's just a staple and a foundation for how things became the way they came. And I went on to a next chapter of my life and figuring out a whole nother, you know, equation, you know, things that was brought upon my life and problems that I ended up dealing with from a whole nother avenue. But maybe that'll be a story time for another day. I hope that all of this insight and this story time, if there's anybody out there in the world who's dealing with something similar, in a situation similar to mine, the one that I dealt with and overcame, hopefully that gives you the strength to know, even if it's the worst in the world, like what I told you, because they say somebody always got it worse, which is true. But the circumstances of that, dealing with someone who's schizophrenic, and to the depths of how deep it truly was, you would only know if you're someone who goes through it. I just want you to know that I can't tell you how, but if you're strong, one day things will change. Just keep God close to you, because that's what I did. I didn't know that things would, you know, split ways and end up how they did. You know, that's not some miracle story for how things did end from that situation up until this point I'm at right now. Yes, there's a lot more to be told, but from that, you know, how I parted ways with my mother at that time, that was a miracle for me, because I was at my breaking point. And if you're at yours, just be strong. And I hope my story can help add to your strength and give you courage and to see light at the end of the tunnel, because people who are experiencing something like that while you're actively going through it, it don't seem like it gets better. But I thought the same, and somehow I made it out of that situation.
My final thoughts. It takes incredible survival instincts to build a business at 12 or 13 years old just to escape the nightmare he was living and using it to help feed your sibling. But it's completely heartbreaking that the people who were supposed to protect him just looked the other way. This story proves that family isn't always blood, although I am committed to that bloodline. Family is about who actually stands by you when things get dark. So, y'all drop a comment below and tell me what you would have done in this situation if you could imagine being in his shoes at the age that he was. And don't forget to subscribe to Drama Drop TV for more storytime reactions. And I'll see you in the next story. Talk to y'all later in the comments.